ABC 6 News at 11 on your side starts now. You're watching special coverage of Vote 2020 from the Democratic debate in Westerville.
We're standing in the great state of Ohio, the ultimate purple state, the ultimate bellwether state.
That we're in a state that has had 2 Planned Parenthoods close. We are seeing all over this country women's reproductive rights under attack.
Ohio is losing jobs under Donald Trump. He has broken his promises to Ohio and the industrial Midwest.
12 Democratic candidates for president showing how Ohio will be the center of the upcoming presidential race. The Democratic presidential debate just wrapping up at Otterbein University in Westerville.
Another chance for the candidates to show why they deserve the Democratic nomination. And we have live team coverage tonight, our team of reporters on campus through the whole debate. And we'll start with Rodney Dunnigan, who's here with us in the studio right now to break down some of the big moments. Rodney?
Well, Bob and Stacia, you knew there would be fireworks at points during this debate. These 12 candidates trying to separate themselves from the pack and stand out to voters across the country.
Debate night kicking off with handshakes and smiles. The attacks, though, starting early.
In my judgment, Trump is the most corrupt president in the history of this country.
Candidates quickly turning their attention to President Trump.
He has consistently, since he won, been selling out the American people.
Businessman Andrew Yang seeing a push on social media when he moved the discussion to jobs, specifically here in the Buckeye State.
We're standing in the great state of Ohio, the ultimate purple state, the ultimate bellwether state.
Recent frontrunner Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts getting hammered on her plans for health care.
I don't understand why you believe the only way to deliver affordable coverage to everybody is to obliterate private plans.
The issue is whether the Democratic Party has the guts to stand up to the healthcare industry.
Another big topic trending on Twitter, Senator Kamala Harris moving the talk to women's reproductive rights.
This is the 6th debate we have had in this presidential cycle, and not nearly one word with all of these discussions about health care on women's access to reproductive health care, which is under full-on attack in America today. And it's outrageous.
The debate fierce throughout the evening. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey trying to play peacemaker.
You know, we've got one shot to make Donald Trump a one-term president. And how we talk about each other in this debate actually really matters. I've had the privilege of working with or being friends with everybody on this stage, and tearing each other down because we have a different plan, to me, is unacceptable. I have seen this script before. It didn't work in 2016.
And, of course, that script he's referring to is the 2016 presidential election. Now, each of these candidates on stage tonight hoping there isn't a repeat. The political experts, no doubt, left to debate over the coming hours who came out on top tonight and what it could all mean for this election going forward. Reporting live in studio tonight, Rodney Dunnigan, ABC 6 News.
Thank you, Rodney. Candidates' teams right now going from the debate stage into the spin room.
It's their chance to talk to reporters about their performance tonight. Ben Garbrick live inside that area for us tonight. Ben, looking very crowded as you wait for the candidates to enter the room. What are you seeing so far?
Well, right now we have a whole bunch of members of the media from all across the country who are waiting for the candidates to come out. The debate's going a little bit past 11 o'clock at this point, so the candidates have not started making their way over here to the spin room quite yet. I want to bring in Latrice Washington. She is a political science professor here at Otterbein University. Latrice, are there any moments or candidates that have stood out to you so far tonight?
I believe Bernie Sanders has surprised everyone. We expected him to come back and to attempt to come back strong, and he has done just that. I think all doubts about his health and whether he's up for the challenge in the long haul seem to be addressed. Elizabeth Warren shocked me a little bit in the sense that she seemed unprepared for the attack that she would receive. I think she started to handle it a little bit better the second hour and towards the end. The front runner is always, as I said before, is going to be the target. And if you start out in that role, you have to expect it. Kamala Harris is not as strong as she started out, and part of that can be associated potentially with coming out so early. And, you know, a lot of the work that she did in the beginning, and it's easy to be the front runner when you're kind of like the only person announcing that you're running, but that also means that everyone's gunning for you as well. So she's lost some steam. She still seems to be a little bit on the fringes, but top three, I would say Sanders, Biden, Warren together.
Gotcha. Yeah, those have been the front runners according to a lot of the polling. And Latrice and I were just talking a moment ago with this debate being here in Ohio, certainly the opioid epidemic, Lordstown layoffs, Dayton shooting. There were several Ohio moments, Ohio-specific moments during this debate tonight. Guys, we'll send it back to you from the spin room.
Thank you very much, Ben. Not everyone, of course, could fit inside the Reich Center for the debate. It was a big crowd in there, but not everyone could get there. And for those who couldn't, there was another watch party on campus. Haley Nelson spent the evening attending that, and she joins us now live outside the party. Haley, what are folks saying?
Yeah, Bob, a lot of different opinions from folks in here. You can see them filtering out of Cowan Hall right now. These are students, these are community members, these are people that not only want to watch the debate, but also talk about it with this community. Paid attention through a lot of this. A lot of folks very interested in what's going on. This crowd clapping multiple times throughout the debate for what I noticed, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, and Bernie Sanders. We also talked to a lot of students. Students tell me having the debate right here at their university, getting to take part in this watch party has been a once-in-a-lifetime experience, saying they've not only learned a lot about politics, but about journalism and event planning. We spoke to people of all ages, and for almost everyone we spoke to, they pointed out some of the tension and so-called infighting on the stage.
We have a very enthusiastic crowd here tonight. I think it's obvious that why Elizabeth Warren has emerged as a front runner in these debates. But it's also interesting to hear the challenges that Buttigieg and Yang have been proposing to her.
I also think that what Senator Booker said is worth thinking about, that for candidates to get together on a stage and throw stones at one another doesn't really help.
I think right off the bat, we started off with healthcare. Clause came out. There was definitely a lot of tension on the stage, specifically towards Elizabeth Warren.
And right now, people are continuing to filter out of Cowan Hall as this debate has ended. There are still a few folks still inside actually discussing what they saw. And all politics aside, perhaps one of the most perhaps interesting moments that happened inside this hall was at the very beginning of the debate when Otterbein University and the city of Westerville were announced. A big cheer, a big round of applause from the folks in here. Live at Cowan Hall, I'm Haley Nelson. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Haley. Now, this debate turned that national spotlight on Westerville there. The city had to pull together a massive event very quickly. We're going to send it out to Bryant Madrick now. So, Bryant, how do the folks who live here and work here think things went?
Well, Stacia, people who live here in Westerville are already proud of their community, and tonight they remain proud. This evening, we're along State Street. Earlier this evening, there were demonstrators on each side of the street. A large number of people coming here to this city. And if there is any question leading up to tonight, if this city could handle such a big event, if this was the test, people I talked to say this city passed. Large crowds and demonstrations, traffic, and lots of police. Westerville got a lot of visitors in town for Tuesday's Democratic debate, and locals loving the attention.
We came out to see, what all's going on here tonight, and I think it's great. I think it put Westerville on the map, but it'll be nice when things slow down again.
It's bringing definitely a lot of people into town. It's hopefully giving Westerville a good name because you don't hear too much about Westerville.
A lot of planning going into getting the quiet suburb ready for the national spotlight. So, how did the city do?
I think they're doing great. I haven't seen any problems. We rode our bikes up here, and it's been kind of fun walking around, and we haven't seen any trouble. It seems like they've got everything under control.
We were here a little bit earlier when we went to get dinner, and it was a lot more crowded, but everything was fine. You could see police everywhere. The sides were all staying separated, and it was peaceful.
Peaceful, a little loud, but peaceful. I reached out to a city spokesperson earlier tonight. She tells me there were no major issues here in Westerville. Live in Westerville, I'm Bryant Madrick, ABC 6 News.
Thank you, Bryant. Our community sure has a lot to be proud of. Now, coming up, we're heading back into the spin room. Ben Garbrick joins us live with more reaction from the candidates as we wait for them. You see here live. That's coming up in 6 minutes.
And another young life lost in a crash. We're going to talk to an eyewitness about what they saw unfold.
Rain is going to move in during the overnight hours, and that means if you're planning on getting out in the yard to rake some of those leaves in the morning, First thing in the day, probably not great, but later on in the afternoon should be okay. Now, those leaves are going to be wet, so they're going to be heavy. I'll tell you when the sun comes back and how much warmer it's going to get in a few minutes.
The problem isn't the polls, the problem is the policy. And I don't need lessons from you on courage, political or personal. Everyone on this
Heated
stage
moment while debating gun control tonight in Westerville. After the mass shooting in Dayton, gun control just one of the Ohio-centric issues discussed tonight.
Angelica Alvarez continues our team coverage now with more of the big moments.
The impeachment inquiry into Donald Trump dominating the first part of the debate, with CNN moderators letting each candidate respond.
No one is above the law, and that includes the president.
Trump is the most corrupt president in the history of this country.
He has committed crimes in plain sight.
Candidates and the moderators then dived into key voter issues such as the economy and health care. And Elizabeth Warren, with her rise in the polls, the main target from other candidates, trying to pin her down on her policies, and in particular, how to pay for Medicare for all.
Costs will go up for the wealthy, they will go up for big corporations, and for middle-class families, they will go down.
No plan has been laid out to explain how a multi-trillion-dollar hole in this Medicare for All plan that Senator Warren is putting forward is supposed to get filled in.
You are making Republican talking points right now in this room.
On foreign policy, the candidates condemned President Trump's move to pull troops out of northern Syria. While they all seem to agree the president's move will only have negative consequences, some had different opinions on even being involved overseas in the first place.
Donald Trump has the blood of the Kurds on his hand, but so do many of the politicians in our country from both parties who have supported this ongoing regime change war in Syria that started in 2011.
Respectfully, Congresswoman, I think that is dead wrong. The slaughter going on in Syria is not a consequence of American presence. It's a consequence of a withdrawal and a betrayal by this president.
The candidates also tackled a wealth tax and gun control on the debate stage. Those who qualify will hash out these same issues and more again next month in Georgia. In Washington, I'm Angelica Alvarez.
So the candidates then head from the debate room, the debate hall, to the spin room now that the debate is over.
Let's send it back out to Ben Garber tonight, live in the spin room. Candidates now headed there, Ben?
Yeah, they're on their way over here at this point. So far, I haven't seen any of them actually walk into the spin room quite yet. I want to bring into the conversation Aaron Call. He is a debate expert at the University of Michigan. So, Aaron, I mean, any moments or candidates who really stood out to you for the better or for worse?
In terms of moments, it was Elizabeth Warren being attacked kind of as a circular firing squad at the beginning of the debate. I thought that she still was very evasive on the healthcare question, whether or not taxes would have to be raised, middle-class families, something to be very important to Ohio. And she didn't have a fatal knockout, and it wasn't, I don't think, totally detrimental to her campaign, but people could see some unease and shakiness with that performance early, and some voters could even think how she would fare in 3 presidential debates with President Trump. On the positive side, I think Bernie Sanders eliminated probably any fears about his health. He looked, looked good, his same aggressive self, and even had some self-deprecating humor in the debate tonight. In other candidates, there was no overall star, but some had their moments. Joe Biden alluded having to talk about Ukraine for a big portion of the debate and got some defense from his fellow candidates. It was really strong on foreign policy. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, also with given his military national security background, I thought was very strong, had good exchanges with Tulsi Gabbard, but ultimately they didn't get enough time to really make their case and have a standout performance. And some of the lower tier candidates were solid too, Klobuchar, Booker, but they're so far back, I don't think anything will fundamentally change from tonight.
We just have a few seconds here, but you wrote a book about Donald Trump and debating Donald Trump. I mean, what do you think he would think about tonight's debate?
I think he would feel comfortable that since how he dominated the cycle in 2015 for the 2016 election, he would do it again. And I don't think anyone on the stage really put any kind of fear into him. And Warren, in her kind of shakiness, would make him feel comfortable as her as the general nominee for the Democrats.
So there you go. We're waiting for some of the candidates to come out here, particularly some of the ones who may not have gotten much airtime tonight. We're expecting some of them to come out here to the spin room and try to get their message out a little bit more than they were able to tonight. But certainly we're waiting for lots of candidates to come out here to the spin room. So even though the debate is over, certainly the night here at Otterbein is not even close to being over quite yet. Guys, back to you.
Ben, thank you very much. Moments after the debate, President Trump's campaign releasing this statement, quote, "A dozen Democrats stood on stage tonight and made several things clear. They have always wanted to impeach President Trump. They have always wanted to eliminate employer-provided health insurance. They have always wanted to raise your taxes, and they have always wanted to unravel the hottest economy in modern history." Another thing also made clear, once again, President Trump was the hands-down winner of this debate.
Tonight, Columbus police are looking for the gunman out of a quadruple shooting in the Linden neighborhood. Happened along Manchester Avenue just after 6:30 tonight. Police say someone in a car opened fire, hitting 4 people. 2 of them were taken to the hospital in critical condition. A 17-year-old from Gehenna is now the 3rd person to die after an accident at Morse and Sunbury Road on Saturday. Jay Sean Scott was a football player at Gehenna Lincoln. Tonight, we spoke with a witness who was sitting at the intersection when the crash happened. Javetta Gray tells us she saw the cars smash into each other and then both burst into flames.
I will never forget it because the impact was so strong that it was like this big boom sound and this light flashed. It was like a bomb going off as 2 cars made an impact, made a hit.
Gehenna Jefferson Schools says they will have grief counselors available all week to students and staff. This crash remains under investigation.
It is a quiet night out there at the moment. Weather-wise, that's going to change during the overnight hours. Scattered showers are on the way. Temperatures will drop through the 50s down into the 40s. Eventually, we'll get down to around 46 degrees. Now, these scattered showers will be with us through the overnight hours and into the morning commute. Here's what it looks like. As this front gets closer to us, you notice that rain spreads out across the state during the early morning. Then, as we go through the afternoon, the front pulls away and we start to get some drying during the afternoon. The clouds start to break up, and then on Thursday, we see some high pressure starting to move in, and that is going to give us a little bit more sunshine. So the rain is tonight. It continues tomorrow morning, and then we get some clearing. Here's how your day shapes up. There's your morning showers, 54 for a cool high in the afternoon. It's going to be breezy, and so it's going to feel cooler than that. Then when we get to Thursday, we're at 56 degrees. We're partly cloudy, breezy again, but you're dry all day on Thursday. Once we get to Friday, those temperatures begin to come up again. We get to 63 on Friday with plenty of sunshine. Saturday and Sunday both look pretty good. 71 on Saturday, great day to be outdoors enjoying that. Sunday, you're dry most of the day. This 20% is actually going to be for Sunday night, as there's a chance for some showers to come through. 73 degrees. Monday and Tuesday are going to be wet. Looks like another front coming in. First a warm front, then a cold front. 74 on Monday, 65 on Tuesday.
Hey, quick reminder for any of you watching us on an antenna. You need to rescan your TV starting Saturday if you'd like to keep getting ABC6 and our digital channels. If you'd like some more information on why this is happening, just open the ABC6 app and search rescan. And if you're on an antenna and don't want to access an app, I understand. but you just know you have to rescan by Saturday.
Where's the rain, by the way?
Anybody who thinks that being on an antenna is not high tech, it is these days.
Oh, yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
The rain is on its way for the overnight hours. A little hit or miss. It'll be wet for the morning commute, so prepare yourself for some on and off showers tomorrow.
Thanks for being here tonight.
Sleep well, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.
President Trump has authorized a major set of sanctions against Turkey. The sanctions are in direct response to Turkey's incursion into northeast Syria and attacks on the Kurds there. Steel tariffs on Turkey are going back up to 50%. Sanctions are being placed, quote, against current and former officials of the government of Turkey and any persons contributing to Turkey's destabilizing actions in northeast Syria. And negotiations on a $100 billion trade deal with Turkey are not going to be moving forward. American forces are leaving northern Syria with a small contingent remaining in southern Syria to keep fighting ISIS. President Trump is removing U.S. forces from northern Syria so that the men and women of our military are not in the middle of a regional conflict. but he's prepared to, quote, swiftly destroy Turkey's economy to force the country and groups allied with it to stop their aggression and wrongful acts. The task of stopping Turkey in its tracks should also be shared by our allies in Europe. Here's the bottom line. Turkey, a NATO member, is acting outside of international legal norms in its invasion of Syria and attacks on the Kurdish population. NATO should suspend Turkey's membership in the alliance and follow America's lead in isolating Turkey and pushing its ruling regime to leave northeast Syria immediately.
Now, here's a different point of view.
Betraying and abandoning our allies is something America should never do. But that's exactly what President Trump did when he decided to withdraw troops from northern Syria, leaving our allies, the Kurds, defenseless. Trump's isolationist posture has broken a key relationship in the Middle East. ISIS remains a threat, and dismantling the Islamic State should be a priority. But this administration seems to prefer short-term victories over long ones. And anyone with an ounce of foreign policy knowledge or access to a history book knows that ISIS won't be defeated in an instant, and allies in the region are essential. Senator Lindsey Graham, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, and Trump's former ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, have all spoken out against withdrawing troops from Syria. Former Defense Secretary James Mattis even said ISIS will become stronger in northern Syria and Iraq if U.S.-aligned forces do not maintain pressure in the region. Their comments fell on deaf ears. The Kurds, feeling abandoned, struck a deal with Russia and Syria to prevent assured genocide. We're all aware of the vast humanitarian disasters under Syria's Assad regime, as well as Russia's moves to inflict chaos around the globe. The U.S. left the Kurds with no choice but to seek aid from these troublesome bedfellows. Let's get to the point. The president's foreign policy is increasing instability in the Middle East. ISIS isn't defeated, and with Trump's latest move, they are only going to get stronger.
The views expressed by commentators do not necessarily reflect the views of this station.